Cool. Okay, so we are up now. Everything is done. Let's start then. Okay, everyone is ready? So we are going to start? Okay, thank you. So hello everyone. Welcome to the Carnival of Poetry 29th edition. And this is our last one and the final one for 2020. So yeah, today is the fourth Sunday of December 2020, and we are going to have, as usual, our Carnival of Poetry. So the poetry of home for this year. And we are showcasing, we are having like 8 poets from different time zones and different places. And that includes Amanda, Chandra, Deborah, Kristine, Kyra, Salah, and Vijayakanth, and also Wahid. Wahid, among all these poets, like other 7 except Wahid, are live here, and we'll play also the video from Wahid because it is 4 a.m. in his time. So, welcome everybody, and thank you for being here. And we are Migrant Writers of Singapore. We organize this event at every fourth Sunday, and it is also supported by Singlet Station. And this time we are lucky to have Translating Migration with us. So without further ado, we'll go into poetry and we'll go to each of our poets and we'll listen to their poems and also their stories. So we'll start with Amanda. So Amanda,
Hi guys,
hi.
my name's Amanda Muñiz. I am a Mexican writer. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No. Yeah, carry
Can I
on,
keep going?
carry on. Yep. So you are decreasing my job only, so that's better for me. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No. Go
But
on. Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and jump into the poem. So the first one I will be
No, just
reading
introduce
is
yourself a bit more. Like, don't be shy. Like, otherwise, I would have asked you to. Yeah. Yeah.
sure. So my name's Amanda Muñiz. I am a writer from Mexico. I migrated to the U.S. at the age of 8. I am currently living in the Bay Area, to be more specific, in Oakland. I've been writing since about the age of 14, and I graduated from the State University of San Francisco with a major in literature. I hope that's a good enough intro. And if it's
Yep.
okay with everybody, I'll just go ahead and start. This piece is called Country. A country pasted by the memory of a child, glued together by words later read in history books, and family anecdotes is what I offer. These feet have not felt the earth of their owner's homeland since the age of 8, but in their soul, in my soul, the sand of Veracruz remains encrusted. Deep in sleep, I hear la caída de granizo on a tin roof, feel the fog of early mornings in Amozoc, caressing my string legs, reddening my cheeks, my face, a child's face, reflected in nice coated water barrels. The petrichor emanating after a California summer rain feels like water drenching a body that years ago forgot the smell of home. The heat of summer evaporating the droplets as soon as they hit the ground, a barefooted child feeling the grandeur of the Tehuacan's weather. My hand near my heart, parallel to my heart, saluting a tricolor flag on early morning assemblies. Los Niños Héroes, Benito Juárez, Jose Maria Morelos, all emblematic names. Names learned in a 3rd grade class in a school named Zapata. Zapata, te huele la pata, kids used to teach. Feet now planted miles away, so many miles away, heartbreaking miles away, memory twisting miles away. But the souls and the soul points out, and the heart still beats too. Mexicanos a grito de guerra, al acero prestar y el bridón, y retiembla en su centro la tierra, al sonoro rugir del cañón. Y retiembla en sus centros la tierra, al sonoro rugir del cañón. Thank you for listening to that.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, that's very. So, what is this song about? Just don't mind my, like lack of knowledge.
No,
So,
no. Of course. So actually, the ending is the Mexican national anthem. Part of the Mexican national anthem. In Mexico, which I thought was something really strange when I came to the US, we used to have morning assembly every morning, and we would be made to like go through the anthem and like salute the flag and learn all these like heroes in school. And in the US, um, I assume that's what we were supposed to do when I got here, and we didn't do it. So it's just something that I strangely miss from home. And but even now that I think about it, that's the only part of the actual anthem I know by heart now, because it's
Okay.
been.
I see. Yeah, we used to have morning assemblies also. Like, what about like other places? Like, how about it in Singapore? So, so Deborah, you studied in Singapore, right?
Yeah, I was born and raised there.
Yeah.
Um,
So, how is it in there?
yeah, we sang the national anthem too
Okay.
to encourage our allegiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So for Vijay, I know, like in India, like we always do that. I think the morning assemblies with national anthem. Chandra, I think also the same, right?
Yeah, yeah. Especially in schools, it's a compulsory in the morning assembly. Colleges, no, not required.
No. Mm.
Even Nepal, even movie halls also. Before the starting of the movie, we play national anthem.
Yeah. That's something new in India also. Like we suddenly started this in movie halls, and yeah, suddenly you are eating your popcorn and you have to stand up to, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something new. Um,
But sorry to interrupt, but like I have maybe like a question. Does like national anthem could like provoke different, I think, reflections or feelings to the people. So like I know like in some countries it's kind of like compulsory or obligatory. Every single morning you wake up, you have to go to school, and then like it's kind of so I wonder if it provokes more like feelings of nostalgia or feelings of maybe anger or disagreement or something.
it depends on what happened after that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
I will say I found it weird that they didn't do it in the U.S. for the American national anthem, because the U.S. is known to be very, especially now with the current situation that's happening right now in the U.S. People tend to be very into politics and very much into like being an American to a certain degree. And it's funny that something that a lot of countries do, that the US consider itself better than, they do it. In the US, it's kind of like, oh, we don't really need to do it. We don't, like a lot of kids, there's an article that went around, interview, and a guy was like, oh, do you know the national anthem? And a lot of kids were like, uh, and again, it's weird coming from a country that is so into their politics and so very much into themselves. And it's very much into like assimilating or wanting to force assimilation into the immigrants coming into its lands. So it's definitely both, for me at least, it's definitely both a thing of pride to kind of remember my home, but it's also kind of like a good little, I'm here and I'm still Mexican, and that's kind of not gonna go anywhere.
I see.
I
Yeah.
feel like the relationship that we have with the national anthem is also like, I guess, emblematic of like our relationship with the country, or like our relationship with the country's politics. Like Singapore is quite, I mean, I'm really grateful that I come from there and all of it, all that it gave to me, and blah blah blah. But also, like, it's a really fear-based society. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of structure, and we are trained from a young age to fear breaking the rules. And so, for me, the national anthem, it also has this like element of like, you have to stand at attention, because it is like they will make you stand at attention. Like if you're sitting at your desk, when the anthem is playing, someone's gonna come and make you stand up, because they're afraid that if you don't, they will get in trouble. So it's so much like, I think the country's energy that like also expresses itself through the national anthem, I feel.
Yeah. And Kristine and Kyra, it's same there in Philippines?
Yeah, came from Philippines.
Okay.
I was raised in Singapore, so
Okay.
I actually kind of agree with what Deborah is saying, that there's a bit of an, would I say it's Orwellian, but like there's kind of like a surveillance quality to the society in Singapore, in the sense that everyone's watching out for each other so that nobody breaks the rules, and that's where it feels rigid, and that's how I think the part of the national anthem is kind of like a type of propaganda, so that people can stick with the status quo. Yeah.
So we see there's quite a bit of varied sentiment just over one, song, and yeah. So that's the interesting part. If you, put together all the people from different parts of the world, and as we can see, like, as Salah was asking, like there can be two possibilities, but it seems like for everyone it is a mixed possibility. So yeah. So everyone has a mixed feeling about it. So yeah, that's interesting. So let's move on to the next one. So our next poet is Chandra. Hi. So Chandra is from Nepal and currently working in Bahrain, right? Yeah. And without further ado, like, please introduce yourself as a poet. And yeah, we are eager to hear your poetry.
Yeah, I am here in Bahrain for last 13 years, and I am working in a construction company, and poetry is a passion. Like whenever I am free, I go for poems, I read, write, and beside writing my own poems, I do translations. I have translated many Hindi poets because I know Hindi, even Arabic poets also. I have translated their poems, and definitely English poets. So this is one particular thing. Besides writing poems, I do translations. Thank you.
That's interesting. So that means you know Arabic also, right?
Sorry?
So you know Arabic also, that means, right?
No, I don't know Arabic. I'm not that perfect or fluent in Arabic, but a lot of Arabic poems are available in English now.
Okay, I see. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Like I like to translate myself also, and that's very interesting. Maybe we can talk about it a bit
Yeah,
later.
definitely.
Thank you.
So shall I have to recite poem?
Yes, yes, yes. So like go
Okay.
ahead with your first point.
Okay. I have
The
only
stage is
just two poems, and the both poems have the same title, Land Overseas. Just for the differentiation, like I have given Land Overseas 1 and Land
okay.
Overseas 2.
Okay.
So firstly I will
So
recite Land Overseas 1.
so we'll go on with your first poem for the first roll, and then we'll
Okay,
go
just
on with
only
the
one
second
poem.
one. So, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's a
One
short
poem at a
poem.
time.
It's a short
Okay.
poem.
So if you think they are too short, like you can read one more. We are happy to listen to obviously more
No,
poetry.
I have just only these two poems, like
Oh,
suitable for today's environment.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, I will start here. With beats of messages of joy clasped in its beak, with beats of messages of joy clasped in its beak, a messenger bird comes soaring from home and perches on the window of my heart. Life drops off like the Becky's tears. Life drops off like the Becky's tears, echoes happiness. A dark cloud of message arrives from home. A dark cloud of message arrives from home, carrying with it annals of hardship there, brings with it a storm of worries, brings with it a storm of worries, and bangs on my heart with a sharp thunderbolt of sorrows. Pity on this pain. In fact, in fact, a land overseas is a two-edged sword. It slays in sorrows. It slays in sorrows and jabs in joys too. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for the poem. So one thing that was interesting is this one. What means what motivated you to use that specific analogy of brackish tears, like life drops off like brackish tears, like
Hmm.
you know. So can you?
It's like a, I had like a try to bring the message that sometimes the news of happiness travel to us from home, and sometimes the news of sorrow. But in both the cases, like we are sad in the foreign land. When the happy news comes, then also we are sad. When the sad news comes, even then we are sad. So it's like two-edged sword that is cutting in happiness as well as in sorrows. So this is the like final message I wanted to give in my poem.
I see, like the one you mentioned, like a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yep. Thank you for sharing like your poetry. We'll come back to Chandra again in the
Welcome.
next round.
Thank you.
So now our next poet is okay in the alphabetical order, Deborah. So yeah. So hi.
Muted.
You are
I didn't
muted.
realize
Yep.
I was muted. Yeah. So I perform my poems mostly. Um,
So you are right now in New Zealand,
I'm in New
right?
Zealand. That's where I live. Um,
So it
um,
looks like somewhere near the forest, like
oh yeah, I live rurally. And I live with solar power,
okay,
and right now I'm on the bus that I like. Half of my home is the bus, and then half of my home is a yurt, which is a big Mongolian kind of tent. It's like 7 meters across. It's quite big, and so I live, yeah, quite like in nature, ground,
that's
food and
interesting.
stuff. Um,
Very different than your Singaporean home or like the one you were used to, right?
yeah, very different from Singapore, but definitely much more aligned with who I am and who I want to be.
Okay,
So
that's great.
yeah,
That's
I'm
great.
very grateful to live here as well. Especially
So,
in these times,
mhm,
because in New Zealand it's like, well, yeah, there's music festivals happening and like, concerts
mhm,
and large gatherings, weddings, funerals. So it's quite like life is almost as per normal here. Uh,
mhm.
so it's, yeah, I'm very grateful.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I am a poet and a singer and a channeler and an energy worker, and all of my poetry, I guess it has some kind of uh yeah, a bit of an existential edge. So this poem that I'm going to perform first and share first is called Unidentified Object, and it's really about a sense of alienation that I experienced through most of my life, especially coming from Singapore. Um, because I mean, Singapore is like an incredibly diverse place, um, but also I felt from quite a young age that I didn't fit clearly into any cultural category because my background is very mixed as well. So I really struggled with a sense of, I guess, place. Um, but that obviously was something that I had to resolve later. And that's what the poem's about. So I'm just going to read it and start talking about it.
That's great. The stage is yours. Like, please.
Okay. We come covered in mother blood, belonging to her how snow belongs to the mountain it touches. Our rain knows the river which cradles it. We curl into the nook of the womb, fed creamy whispers and umbilical dreams, then burst from the husk to fall on the dirt, the solid flat of the earth, warm and real, cold and tangible, like the knives they use to cut us out when we don't belong anymore in that belly cocoon, stewing in sacred juice. We are doctored early, owned by many. We are flowers plucked from the stalk by fingers more powerful than ours, and our future is decided by those who will tell us they are the gatekeepers. See, not everyone is allowed to belong where they are born. There are always those who draw lines disguised as words: race, religion, nationality, cultural identity. Where are you really from? That's not your real name, is it? But your English is so good. I am from an island of immigrants, came sailing towards an iridescent future, came beating wings into a sunrise sky. In Singapore, the streets are so shiny, it's hard to look people in the eyes. In Singapore, we dream of life outside the box, since most of us live stacked in boxes, tiptoe at the edges so we don't plunge into the unknown. In Singapore, even the trees are accounted for with an online portal. Roots plugged into the grid where each leaf sees its place. Each person knows their category. Angsana, Tambusu, Flame Tree, Rain Tree, Chinese, Malay, Indian, Eurasian, yet all Singaporean, possessed by birthplace, gripped by the fields in which we flower, planted in rows to stay within borders. But what if I was born in an accidental field? What if my parents were introduced species, my petals the smell of distant lands? What if I'm not flower, but alien, an unidentified object with inky skin and woolly hair, a foreigner in my own country? What if I am a twinkle sparked by cosmic marbles? A shiver in some galactic bosom, the universe poured into a skin-clad jar, you and I. We were told that the earth is made of imaginary lines, that we all fit within them. We were told that there is somewhere we belong, a particular place where our fragrance is of use, a hole in the ground where our flesh is meant to sit. But I have never belonged anywhere except inside this body. It has taken me long enough to inhabit these bones, to grow my own colors and paint my own mind, and even then I am neither here nor there. An alien flower in fundamentalist fields, listening to the voice of a passport tell me my origin, watching the words on a screen dictate my given name, an interplanetary plant making peace with the void, belonging to nowhere but the spaces between. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a really nice poem. Yep. And I can see, like, lots of your growing up in Singapore, being in Singapore, and lots of like really Singaporean analogies like coming up, like, all these different kinds or nouns you have used, different categories, and yeah, trees being accounted for, obviously.
It's
Yeah.
real. There's an online portal for the
Yeah.
trees. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first came to know that, I was like very like shocked, odd, like I was, yeah, I don't know the expression. Yeah, but yeah, it happens. So yeah, that's very interesting, and like what we really have said multiple times in Carnival, and what we believe also, that really resonates. Like whatever is the border, whatever, like wherever, like you belong according to your nationality or etc. Like irrespective of that, what poetry gives us the power is this universal humanity without borders, a way of talking to each other only through human emotions. So yeah, and I think like that was the summary of almost everything we wanted to say, and thank you for reading that. Yeah, that's a very nice one. Yeah. So yeah, so we had a very nice summary of like what we wanted to say for long in our 29th session in the last one of 2020. May not have been like the very best year in our life, but yeah, it's nice to have such poems in our lives and to keep on thriving on them. So now we'll move on to our next poet. So our next poet is Kristine. So Kristine, hi.
Yeah, hello. Hi.
So Kristine is from Kristine is from Philippines, and now you are in Malaysia, right?
Yes, working in Malaysia.
Yeah. So would you
Okay.
like to introduce yourself and read your
Okay.
poem?
Yes, I'm Kristine here, from Philippines, but currently working in Malaysia for 4 years. And I started writing a poem when I was in high school, but only this time I have a time to evaluate it by the help of my friends. And my first poem, I take the idea from a short Tagalog movie entitled Blanca, which is she's homeless and longing for the love of a family. So here it goes. Homeless, but not hopeless. Along the river banks she chose, cardboard and trash she used. With a wicked arms but strong faith, little paradise she built. Her heart is full of determination, living alone with the stones. Only sunrise brightened her dark room, not knowing until when she will live alone. Walking barefoot on the street, begging for someone who can feed. This homeless girl, longing for love, hoping on her way she could find. With our naked eyes, we can see an innocent face who lost her family. Inside of her is full of positivity that one day she could find a home where she's supposed to live. Once the dark night, thunder and lightning occur, her little paradise washed out by the storm. Teardrops fall on the ground, but her faith was never gone. I may lose my hope, but not my home, she whispered as she breathed so deep. Behind her sorrow, she smiled, like the sun peeping through the dark clouds. Her eyes shine like rainbow, hoping for a brighter tomorrow. Once again, she picked some trash and decided to rebuild her paradise. With a wicked body, she make it stronger than she could. For if one day she finds her family, they have a place to sleep peacefully. This woman once homeless, but not hopeless. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's like a very nice poem. And you said it is
Thank you.
inspired from some movie?
Yeah, Tagalog short, a film. My
Okay.
girl named
So
Blanca.
a girl name?
Blanca.
Okay, Blanca. So it is about like a girl who is homeless and like, and okay, not hopeless,
Yeah,
like in real sense.
yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
but you have interpreted it in a very different way that is relatable to like people like migrant like us, right?
Yes,
So
yes. It's related all, especially first timer who are going away from the family, losing their, yeah, away from the families, away from the home, that never they lose their hope. They're full of courage that one day they can find again their home.
mhm, I see, I see. No, that's a nice like thought. Thank you
Thank
for sharing that with us. So after Kristine, again, like we'll move to our next poet, and this time in the order is Kyra. So hi, Kyra.
Hello.
Yep.
Hi.
So Kyra is actually from like Singapore.
Yes, I'm currently living in Singapore, but I was raised in the Philippines until I was 10. Then we migrated here so I could continue my studies. Currently, I'm a student at NTU, one of the universities in Singapore, and I'm taking linguistics as my major.
So you are in NTU, you said, or NUS?
NTU, yeah.
Oh, NTU. Okay, okay. Yeah. Good luck with your studies, and yeah, please feel free to
Thank
read
you
your
very
poem.
much. It's my first time like doing any kind of poetry like event, so I'm very happy to be.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see you more. Like, yeah, it's just the beginning.
Okay. Should I start with my first poem or?
Whichever you think is your first poem.
Okay, cool. The title of this one is Ode to Motherland, and I think it encapsulates a lot of complicated feelings I have towards my homeland, which is the Philippines. And let me just get right into it. You are no longer the mother that cradled me to sleep, that sang me lullabies and taught me the harvest. The breast from which I suckled now pours sour milk that sears the tongue. But I ache for the supple land, the promised land, the brown-skinned patriots who painted soil red, white, and blue. Our tribes and their stolen voices, their forgotten scripts, now buried beneath rice paddies grown with tender hate. General Antonio Luna spoke right. We would rather kill our own brothers while making love to the enemy. You are a shell of your so-called national pride, wearing the flag like underclothes to spare, fighting in the name of our ancestors. Civil wars by the uncivilized, riots and rallies like dry straw caught in fire. Do you remember what you were before the names they branded you? What is a Filipino that isn't a domestic helper? Human karaoke? Television screens blink in a parade of pale faces, west and white. Everything white you worship. Like a lover who never keeps the bed warm come dawn. You are a sellout. You have trodden on the flag, dragging mud in history's wake. This great land you have razed to the ground. I refuse to kiss your knuckles and laud your fighting spirit. Not when those fists crushed Katipunan and skinned our mountains. You have unmothered our crested valleys, forsaken infants like welts blemishing. I once loved you, Pilipinas, but now I mourn you. In 10 years, I've learned to leave, then love. My soul is in the sky in search for stars that won't scorch. I would have fought for you, Pilipinas, but you would rather fight among yourselves. This once upon a proud Pinoy bears witness to the roots of your blood-soaked ruin. I would have died for you, dear Pilipinas, but you are my funeral home. Barren land, son's blood, sand's bone, no longer my own. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Like, yeah, that's a like a really emotional journey to your motherland, like a emotional journey back to and fro in your mind from your motherland, I think. So, would you like to share the story behind this, like the emotion exactly, that drove you to write it?
I wrote this poem after reading about a lot of the riots and rallies that's happening in the Philippines right now. Like personally, I felt that one of the biggest reasons why the Philippines, despite being a land full of resources and talent, it just keeps holding itself back because the people would rather fight by themselves and push forward as a country. And even up till now, I feel like the Philippines and the Filipino mindset has very much constrained itself to like colonial worship or like a colonial mentality where they still like subconsciously perceive the West as far more superior than what the Filipino people themselves have to offer. And I was very frustrated with that because I personally feel that there's so much more that the Filipino people can do that doesn't have to associate with themselves with like white people or colonial masters. Everything that's foreign the Philippines seems to be putting on a pedestal, and I didn't like that. That's why I felt that as much as I love the Philippines, there are also several parts of the Filipino mindset that I do not want to agree with. And so came this poem.
Mhm. I see, I see, I see. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. But I think it is not only about Philippines. I think most of the colonized world, and specifically the colonized world with like in this part of Asia, and like it is true. Like this is the typical colonial hangover. I think every one of us go through. Like yeah, and that's why you see like Indians are more comfortable in knowing their mother tongue, like knowing English than their mother tongue. So we speak fluent in English, and often nowadays basically our newer generation forget to speak in our mother tongue. So
Yeah, that's so sad. It is really sad.
yeah, because that's what gives you status, because that's
Yeah,
like
it's
yeah,
it's
why.
it's the sad thing about being a previous colony is that even several years afterwards, you are chasing after the status,
Yes, yes,
and at the expense of your own identity, and that's very heartbreaking.
it is, it is, it is. Thank you for like sharing your thoughts. So next, after this, again in the order is Salah. So Salah is actually from Syria and now in Japan. So Salah, would you like to introduce yourself, your poetry?
Yeah. So I don't know. Good evening, afternoon, morning for because we're
Almost
different time
everything
zones.
for
Yeah. For everyone here. I'm very delighted to be a part in this kind of like very global event. I'm Salahuddin Falioun. I'm from Syria, from Damascus, the capital. I've been living there for like most of my life until 2013 when I moved to Jordan. In Jordan, I pursued my studies. I graduated from university in bachelor degree. I majored in software engineering and also did another diploma in political science. I spent in Jordan 6 years. And then again, I applied to a study program here in Japan. And I moved in 2019, last year. And I've been here almost a year and 3 months, 4 months. Yeah, I'm doing now like a program in peace and conflict studies. I'm living in kind of a little bit away from the center of Tokyo. Yeah.
So you are like which like you are affiliated in, like you are in some university?
Yeah, but I'm studying now in Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. And the program is Peace and Conflict Studies. And of course, from the name, it's very related to what is happening in my home country. Yeah.
That's interesting and very relevant, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, like regarding writing, like started like very early in my life, but it was more like there wasn't maybe like contests or kind of like situations where I managed to perform or something. My performance developed more in Jordan, and I also like met some very let's say good poets, and they gave me also like great pieces of advice. So most of my maybe like performance developed there in Jordan. And yeah, I'm very pleased to also like to join you today. So this poem is titled La Vida, and although it's of course not an it refers to kind of the ambiguity that kind of while you're watching a war going on in your country and you're not sure whether you're gonna go back, whether you're gonna stay where you are or move somewhere else. your situation is very, very kind of unknown, you can say, and at the same time, it really reflects and kind of affect your life, affect your decision. You can't really like build like long-term plans because you have a kind of like a hope. It could be like a false hope that you might go back and, you know, restore your old days life or something else. So it's more about this, the fact of having, let's say, a foggy future and having like ambiguity and yeah, unknown future. So it starts, it goes like this. So the title is La Vida. Countless breaths those which you breathe, striving towards the unknown. Dazzling lights are fading down, only darkness says the truth. All those hopes we had were stolen, we're falling. Hundreds thousand milestones on that shady, lengthy road, and the end has only started. Sneaky shadows from behind, healing spaces in between, catching every single step. Don't you capture what you've seen? We're crawling. Silence shouting, but no souls. Empty bodies holding holes. In that judgment atmosphere, all surroundings want to judge. We just want to disappear. Don't you notice what you hear? I'm calling. No one witnessed that nightmare when the heart got crucified. It got buried down inside, waiting for the resurrection. It's the day that never comes. Until then, we keep false pride. Life will always do what it does. It keeps trolling. What could happen if we stayed? What will happen if we go? Shall we fight or shall we move? Shall we stand and face the flow? Tons of questions raining down. When we try to answer those, we can't find a single word. They are stolen. One thing that I know for sure, nothing in this life is sure. I just have to carry those stolen dreams and dying soul, passing over a million holes, waiting for that resurrection. When the blood revives the veins and the heart can beat again, nothing after that remains. All that scars will fade away. We might die, but life will keep just rolling. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the point. Like that's again, I can see like lots of emotion and lots of this uncertainty that looms around that comes into that. And so would you like to like share any emotion or any feeling about this poem or the motivation? You just said talked about the uncertainty that obviously that's the motivation, but if you want to share anything more about this.
Well, it's mostly like about like I come from a country where life was very peaceful up until maybe 2011, beginning of 2011. Um, after that, the whole situation started to change gradually. Sometimes you feel that like this belongingness, like how do you kind of define it when you are abroad? Like do you sometimes like you regret maybe the decision to move away? You start to question whether you had to like stay and maybe resist and do something about it, have a saying in what is going on. uh, you know uh, it's really really complicated, also like being torn apart, the families, the relationships, the friendships, this division, whether you need like to just make peace and settle with the new situation or the new context that you're living in, the new country maybe.
Mhm.
Or maybe you just like provoke the feelings of nostalgia to the old memories and such things. um, Whether you become kind of more pragmatic rather than having these feelings of belonging and let's say sympathizing with the people inside your country. So it's really like complicated and very, very ambiguous also at the same time to deal with all of this, I think.
That's, yeah, I think like, yeah, we and I can understand specifically from your perspective, like we have a very complex relation with our motherlands, and yeah, that's true. And actually it always reminds me of like specifically what happened in Syria. Like, obviously, I think Mahmoud Darwish, like his poetry, and like there was this famous line that moved me quite a bit, like, after the war ends and so the world, like, I'll come back to you and my poetry. So
Yeah,
yeah, and it
100%.
all, yeah, so it always feels like that, like though there's this uncertainty, there's always this hope that keeps us going on.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your poem, and now we'll move on to our next poet. So our next poet is Bijay. So hello, Bijay. uh, Vijay, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear
Yep,
me?
yep,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
now
Okay.
you're live.
Okay.
Bijay is actually from Tamil Nadu, India, and now in Singapore, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
Bijay, would you like to introduce yourself and, yeah, read your poetry?
Okay. Good evening to everyone. But here in evening, but I know we are different places. I'm also very happy to meet the poet all over the world. Um, Thanks for the organization who did this event, Carnival Poetry, the team. My name is Rajendra Vijayakanth. I am from India, Tamil Nadu. Uh, I working in Singapore since 2017 as a project engineer. Sorry, 2013 as a project engineer in a mechanical field. Uh, I believe strongly the poems are key for connecting the modern world. Um, the poem I'm going to read now is from my own experience. And I went with my friend to buy the tie in the tie shop. So my friend, when buying the tie, I will remember my childhood times. So from there, I will wrote this poem. Yeah. Can I take my poem
Yeah,
out?
yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Okay.
Stage is yours. Yeah.
Always there is something strange about the tie shop. I assume with a tie can till my desires end. I carry and check a tie dark doll. I wonder how how the mechanical man speaks. I win him on. I even roll a tie car on a glass surface. I snatch a banana from monkey doll and I am waiting for its cry. I fly a plane. I make a cat shout meow. I walk cow. I walk a cow. I touch a tiger with fear. Finally, I remain unaware of my own self like a child, forgetting what I even to buy. Truly, all the stars in one place have no jealous another one. The tiger does not hunt. The gun does not fire. The dog does not fight. The cat does not steal milk. The cow does not search for the calf. The monkey does not do any mischief. The mechanical man does not work. The car does not board anybody to entertain. Thanks.
That's a like a very nice way of putting it, I think. Like, yeah, I have never thought of a toy shop in that way, and yeah, that's very like new way of thinking. Maybe next time I'll go through a toy shop, I'll think of your poem. And Yes, I think like if I'm not wrong, this is the poem that won this time in this Migrant Writers Poetry
Yes,
competition.
yeah, true, true. Yeah, this time this the poem won in the first prize. Yes.
Ah, okay, yeah, congrats for that. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah, so yeah, the analogies are pretty interesting. So if you want to like share anything about like why are the analogies like that, or what came into your mind when you went to the toy shop, or not, I don't think like what came into your mind when you went to the toy shop, but when you wanted to write about the toy.
Yeah, actually, because this is a crucial time in Singapore. I mean, it's a pandemic. When there was my friend worked with me in same company. He want to go back India during this circuit breaker time in India, in Singapore. So I'm the one sending him back to Singapore. So we rushing to going for the Changi airport. So in between gap, he want to buy some things to bring him home, bring him to India. So when because he got a child, so he asked me to buy he asked me to bring me to a Thai shop. So we also we both go together buy the Thai in a Thai shop. When he we talking to the salesman about buying a Thai, then he choose the, I think, pay a helicopter. Then because I myself, I never see anything. I only see my childhood. Where is the gun? I just because the gun was digital, some lighting and sounds coming. These are we will miss in our childhood times. Because we are from a village area, then there is some when we as a group time, there's not like this kind of digitals, but I see in the digital is like true, like real one to when we shooting the people is it's the same sound and same uh, same so look like same. Then I will see all the ties in a cow, like tiger, everything. So I feel it like child. That's why when I come back to my room in the evening, I wrote this poem. And in the Migrant Worker Poetry Competition, I sent this poem, decided to send this poem, and I won this prize also.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for sharing the thought. I think
Yeah,
like, yeah, so okay, I can see the way you like it came from the nostalgia, and like obviously the context is very interesting and like very relatable to most of us in 2020, like this transit to and from home, and yeah, the strange relation that we share right now for like
yeah.
from for home, and like, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts. And so we'll move on to our next poet, and our next poet is Wahid. Why? Yeah, Wahid is actually a poet from like Singapore. He is actually from like by birth, like Bangladesh, but he has grown up in Singapore, and now he's in US doing his bachelor's and in University of Chicago. And we already had him once in our Carnival of Poetry, I think long ago when I was also living in Singapore. I think that's been 2 years or something. And now again we'll have him here. Since it is, I think, 4 a.m. or 4:30 something in there, so Wahid has sent us his video, and we'll share the video with all of you. So let me. Okay. Let's. Hi, my name is Wahid, and I am a Singaporean poet who is currently based in the US. And I feel really lucky and honored to be invited to Carnival of Poetry again. This is actually my second time taking part, and I'm really indebted to Zakir and everyone else running the show who found it themselves to invite me a second time. I feel really honored, and I am always in awe in sharing the space with so many other talented poets of so many different backgrounds. I'd like to apologize in advance for not actually calling in live. Time zones sort of prevented that from being a thing. I've had to be up at 3 a.m. reading my poetry out loud, and I couldn't do that in good conscience.
And so in lieu of that, I am sending in two pre-recorded poems, the first of which I wrote a couple of months ago when I came back from Singapore to the US to continue my third year of college. It has to do with a lot of feelings of homelessness and confusion about growing up in adulthood and just where I am at the moment. Typical. This poem is called Too Late. Too late. For I am not forward. For long ago, a version of me sat in a billowing field and decided to fly free, and look at what good that has been. For I am gifted with dying flowers in an emptying room and leaves that will soon fester in frost. For I am swimming across two oceans, for I am going beyond my beyond, yet find myself still in exactly the same spot, treading water. For I have dreamed of 1,000 ways to die in this water, yet find greater sorrow in the waking. For I have been looking backwards, only to see shadows whisked back into their caves, trapped in all their years and hours. And isn't this what awaits when the time to end all time descends? Not a place, but an absence.
Yeah. So that's the poetry Too Late from White's side. And I think like he's the, I think, yeah, we are unlucky and he is lucky that he doesn't have to go through the Q&A, but we would have loved to know more about the poem and yeah, to know more why he has written it, because this seemed like a very interesting poem to me. So that's how we are done with the first round of like first lap of Carnival of Poetry for today. And so the poets, do you want to take a break for a few moments?
Oh, for me, it's totally fine. We can carry on. I don't know.
Carry on. Okay.
Okay.
That's great.
Because I would rather that we don't run over that much.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sure. So okay, let's go fast with our second lap then. And again, we'll come back to our first poet, the one we have started with, Amanda. So I think you are, yeah. So Amanda, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it is 1:30 or something there, or 1.
It is 1:13 a.m.
Yeah. Okay. So you are like, deprived of sleep because of us, and yeah, we are running over time. So just don't be angry, and even if you are angry, just shout at us after the recording stops. So don't worry.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll just go ahead and start then. So the second piece is going to be called, it's not going to be called, it's called Finding the Lost. It was recently published by Puccino Press here in the Bay Area. And I'll just go ahead and start. When I look in the mirror, I try to find the indigenous woman in me, the person who Cortés and his men first saw when they arrived in our land, the same land that today has been lacerated by imaginary borders and walls. On days when her image is harder to find, I stand barefooted, hoping her spirit recognizes the land, knowing her roots were planted long before treaties and laws divided the earth. When her image is still missing, I wonder if the Spaniard blood has not pushed her too far down my throat and silenced her. The language my tongue has been trained to mimic have pummeled my voice cords, made her language foreign to every crevice of my mouth, abstract to my ear, incomprehensible to my brain. Yet in sleep, I recognize the voice, the call of snakes. Other days, the slave blood of my grandfather, the mestizaje of my being, the yearning for his own home, call her forward. His own stories of what it means to be Black in a land of multicolored people, a land whose history will forever be tainted by stories of grief, of people who have lost it all, language, land, madre. How is a slave to find his way home when the land he's in is just as lost? I haven't seen or spoken to my grandfather in years, but in my sleep, Cuatlique cradles him, in whispers directs him home, lays him in a velero, sheds snake skin, and liberates him into the sea. Do not worry, for even if you die at sea, you'll make it home. We all make it home. When the conquerors of our people first arrived, it is written that we saw them in awe. Their pale skin, the multicolored hair, different to our own, and still we did not push away. Still, we thought of them ignorantly, fearfully, as gods. In sleep, she sometimes reprimands me for having forgotten her face and confused it for theirs. Fear makes fools of us all, I say, and as I say it, the snakes in her skirt launch for the bite, injecting me with bravery. At the call of my westernized name, the woman inside me recoils, and I must remind her that a name granted by a loved one is more precious than one given by a conqueror. I remind her that as I was injected with bravery, that she resides within me, that she is me, that the story was erroneously recorded. We did not give birth to the god of war. We cut our own throat, shed our own skin, and became it instead. Madre, do not recoil at the new name you are now called. At least this time they are not confused. They will make sure, I will make sure, they know that within me you reside, and that our land, whose history will forever be tainted by stories of grief, will always be healed by the story of its survivors. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's like yeah, that's like really something very relatable for everyone who has ever been to a colonized country. Like we always carry these stories within us, changed our names a bit. Like yeah, so I think that's very interesting. But I think the line the line that interested me and awed me the most is the line, if I say it correctly: do not worry, for even if you die at sea, you will make it home, and we all make it home. And that like that enunciation, that confidence of making it, like we all make it home, is like very interesting. Like it's not about making back home, I think, or like going to home. It is about really making to home. Like so am I right? Like or like what is your emotion really behind it? Because this line is something that moved me really.
Yeah, so in Mexico, we have a saying that we're like a country of mestizos, which is something that we are trying to actually stop saying. Mestizos is basically a word that means like mix. We're a country of mixed people. We're trying to get rid of this word because when we say that, we ignore the fact that there's indigenous people, that there's Black people, that there's Asian people, that there's Jewish people in Mexico that have resided there for years and years and years. That specific line was for my grandpa, who is a Black man. We would call him, I guess, Afro-Mexican. And basically it's just this idea that for him, Mexico wasn't, he grew up in Mexico, he was born in Mexico, but Mexico wasn't accepting of him as a Black man, and of the history that comes with him being a Black man. And that line is just him trying to find a home within his home, acceptance within the land that he calls his home, and then trying to also connect to a land that's literally an ocean away. And it is basically him, like me trying to state, like, till my grandpa actually passed away this year, a couple of months ago. So that line for me means even more now, because I'm hoping that maybe even now he made his way to a point in his life where he found his home, where he was able to rest and basically accept himself and where he was in life and where he ended up.
See, sorry for your loss for the first, and yeah, that's a sad thing to know. But yeah, I think okay, that's not a story like I really expected. But that's, I think, the interesting part of poetry. Like you get to see stories that every reader gets their own story. Like yeah. So for me, like it came like in 2020, it was very hard to go back home. Like whenever you want, you cannot go back home anymore. You cannot meet your family and be beside them. And so whatever happened, even if you don't go back home, you always make it to home. So it became a very personal line to me given this year. So yeah, but I can see like there are other stories coming up. Okay, that's thank you for writing the poem. And yeah, the poem has multiple other things that I'd like to ask about, but yeah, for the time we'll move on, and maybe later on I'll ask you the other questions. I'll disturb with you with other questions. So next poet, we'll move again to our next poet, Chandra. Hi, Chandra. You are in mute.
I hope you people can hear me.
Yeah, now you're back again. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. So Chandra, I
So,
wanted to ask you one thing. Like you mentioned in your bio, like there's this, uh, if I pronounce it correctly, Asvikrit Bichar Sahitya Samman.
yeah.
Can you like say a bit more about it? What is this about? And
Like some senior poets in Nepal,
Mhm.
uh, they like they made one decision to not accept any kind of awards and prizes given by the government body.
Mhm.
Like what they thought is that those writers who are close to the governing body, like the government is giving prizes, awards to them only, despite their poor writing. So this group of senior writers, they like avoided all types of awards and prizes. So later on, after some years, they also started one prize for those types of writers, like who are never running after the awards, prizes, but concentrating on their writings. So fortunately, in year 2016, they selected me for the same award. So this is the only award I have received till now.
No, yeah. So I just wanted to know, and what is the meaning of the word, like if I pronounce it correctly, Azbikrit?
It's the opposite of acceptance.
Okay, opposite of acceptance. Okay,
Yeah,
I
like
see. I see.
in Hindi and Nepali, Svikrit means to accept, and
Okay,
Asvikrit means to not accept.
okay. So it is Aswikrit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the V made me a bit confused. Okay. I see. That's interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So please feel free to read your next poem and share it with us.
And I would like to inform my all the friends, all new friends, all friends whom we are meeting today. Just in October 2020, I have my new poetry collection. It's My Father's Face, and it's published from New Delhi, Rubric Publication, New Delhi. So hopefully in future, very soon, like we may get touch in Facebook, and I will try to send to you, my friends, my new poetry collection. So now I will go with my second poem. The title is same, The Land Overseas. I have given the number 2. So it goes like this. To this land overseas, I have brought from home a pair of eyes. To this land overseas, I have brought from home a pair of eyes that always dreams exceptionally high. I have brought hands that work day and night. I have brought hands that work day and night to bedeck life, while feet walk up and down the hills of existence. I have brought overseas a pair of lips. I have brought overseas a pair of lips which occasionally display a smile. Excitement dances all over my heart. Happiness blooms in my life, and time has procured all luxuries it can. My friend, this far off land has everything.
Did we just lose him? Ah. So the only thing one of the things I don't like about Zoom meetings, yeah, we're listening to a good poem and suddenly our poet is hijacked by the internet. So let's wait a bit.
It's very unfortunate. Like,
yeah, it's very unfortunate. Yeah. Okay, so let's wait for him for a moment. Ah, I think he's back. Chandra? Hi. Hello.
Yeah, sorry, I got disconnected.
No,
My
it's
laptop got stuck. So can you hear me?
yeah. So your video is stuck, but we can hear you. Like in
Okay,
case
that's
if
good then.
your internet is a bit.
Yeah, I'm now from my mobile. My laptop got stopped. So this is the last paragraph.
Okay, that's.
My friend.
So you can start a bit before, I think, so that we can relate because we just lost you in the middle. So just start from.
Okay, so now what should I do then?
So you can start from like the middle or from wherever you think like we can catch you back.
Okay. So I'll start the. Hi friends.
I would prefer if you read the whole thing again. Just putting that out there. Is that right?
That's great. That's great. Yeah. So if everyone agrees, I would love to. Like if you start again from the beginning, we can, Yeah.
Okay, then I will start from the beginning. The title is Land Overseas #2. To this land overseas, I have brought from home a pair of eyes. To this land overseas, I have brought from home a pair of eyes that always dreams exceptionally high. I have brought hands that work day and night. I have brought hands that work day and night to bedeck life while feet walk up and down the hills of existence. I have brought overseas a pair of lips. I have brought overseas a pair of lips which occasionally display a smile. Excitement dances all over my heart. Happiness blooms in my life, and time has procured all luxuries it can. My friend, this far-off land has everything. This far-off land has everything. Excitement, smiles, laughter, and luxury. Only that the heart that could safely harbor all these is left at home, far away. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for reading your poem to us. Yeah, and I think that was a very interesting one. And like this conflict, I think that's what both of your poems like try to portray, right? So the conflict of the happiness and the longing of this migrant life. So, am I right?
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so thank you for sharing the poem. So would you like to share any thought or anything on any story behind the poem with us?
I'm here in the Gulf for last 13 years, and I used to write in school days, but after that I never wrote poems. Then when I came to Gulf, then because of homesickness, loneliness, these things inspired me to write poems. Then I started writing poems after crossing age of 30. So these two poems have the same sentiment, like linked with the home, sweet memories of homeland and the family. So in this way, these two poems were written, thinking about my family members, my home, homeland. That's all. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the thoughts. And yeah, I think all of us can feel it more or less because we have lived our life in, I think, two places, moved from one to another. And yeah, thank you for sharing that. So after Chandra, we'll move to our next poet. So Deborah again, like, yeah, the stage is yours.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too loud, the rain, because it's just started raining
No,
quite.
it's better as a background music. So yeah.
Yeah. I've had a pretty tough day. I found out, well, first of all, I'm a little bit unwell. And then I found out this morning that one of my old friends has passed on. And so I'm quite tired, and as much as I'm really enjoying this and I've really enjoyed meeting all of you, I think I'm going to sign off after I perform this time and go and take some rest for myself, because I'm still quite emotional and tired. And I have to teach a class tomorrow, and I haven't prepared my slideshow as well, so I've gotta gotta do that.
Yeah. Please feel free. Like we didn't want to disturb you for so long for in such a day. Yeah.
No, perfect. Everything's fine. I'm just telling you my needs, so I'm just
No. And we are sorry for your loss. Like really.
Yeah. And I look forward to watching the replay. So yeah, I have a poem to share, but before that, I really feel strongly that I want to sing you a song, before I share the poem. So, yeah, just close your eyes and enjoy, if you can enjoy. If you don't enjoy, it's okay. I am everything. The sun, the sand, the sea, the sky. I am everything. The planets orbit in my eyes. I am you. I am you. I see everything. The sun, the sand, the sea, the sky. I see everything. The planets orbit in my eyes. I see you. I see you. God. All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for singing.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels good to let it out. It's one of the ways that I let it out. So, this poem is called Life is a Story. And it's about how, how we can choose how we perceive things. And we can choose the thoughts that we tell ourselves. And we can choose our peace with our history and our lineage and our ancestry. Yeah, I've had a long journey to find peace with my ancestry, and even connect with my ancestry. Life is a story we tell ourselves. Standing on the warm pavement, a coil of smoke rising like a snake from our glowing cigarette. Or on the drive to the post office, fingers tapping absently to banal mid-afternoon radio, the last chapter of our tale dancing across our face. Life is a story we tell ourselves. A movie filmed with our memory, stacks and stacks of tapes grotesquely arranged in sculpture within the basement of our head, a library of Dewey Decimal delight and despair. Childhood histories spring off the shelf at the smallest twitch of conflict, turning us into puppets of the past. Wind-up dolls animate anew, our trauma disguised as someone else, a scapegoat for why we feel what we do, why we are what we are, what it is we thought we knew. Life is a story we tell ourselves, and so the myth keeps on living. We are our own biggest hero and our own greatest villain, lighting a burning bush as another tower collapses, leading our darkest parts into the crashing waves. Which self do we want to save? Cast in stone again and again. When will we be free from all the tragedies rolling through the bloodlines, hammering on the inside of our cell walls? How do we choose to define this moment? Life is a story we tell ourselves, but each time we tell it, the story changes. The sculpture evolves into a chosen design to support the winning argument of the time. Each instant we tell it, the masterpiece develops a phantom limb to give us more spirit, to possess us further by previous versions. See, I have been the demon and the damsel in distress. I have been buried under mountains of my own making. I have fallen from cliffs. I cut myself from flat land. These hands have built effigies of themselves, only to smolder them to the ground. The songs of my past, the soundtrack to a tragic film, which I made. Life is a story I told myself for so long that I became an actor on the screen, forgetting that I am the maker, master, creator, forgetting that the wand is in my fist, the pen is between my fingers, that life is my story, and I choose to write it right now.
Yep. Thank you for sharing. That's a very nice one, and I think like what you tried to tell, that's very interesting. And I think we have a hard time to accept that most of the things that we do in life not only happens to us, but rather we choose it to happen with us. And yeah, so
That's a
and
pretty like esoteric concept for a lot of people, and a bit like difficult to accept that
mhm,
that some
mhm,
part of us has chosen everything. Yeah, maybe a bit spiritual, but that's what I have experienced and see and believe. Yeah. And I've been through a lot of difficult things. So
mhm,
it's actually taken me a long time to come to this place where I feel like grateful for all of the hard stuff. And I think it is, yeah, we're put into the positions that we're put into for a reason, so that we can grow into who we're meant to be. We
mhm,
either use them as opportunities or we don't. But yeah, that's just my perspective.
mhm, mhm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing. And I won't like, yeah, delay it further for you. Like, have a good rest, take a good rest, and yeah, and have a good
You
time. And I hope,
all the,
yeah, uh,
yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone. for sharing your work with. I was really moved by all of it. So really, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Have a good time.
Well,
bye.
thank you for making it here with what happened. So it's
Yeah.
highly appreciated.
Thank you.
So good night to Deborah, and yeah, next we'll move to our next poet. So our next poet will be Kristine. So hi, Kristine.
Yes.
Yep. So we'll love to hear your next poem, and yeah, no more about it.
Yep. A second poem is entitled A Home That Made of Love. I never wished, but I dreamed. I never asked for free. Indeed, I saved. I never begged. Instead, I work hard to earn. Yet, I ask help to build. Each corner is made of hope. Caring is mixed on the wall. Dreams is sketched on the roof. It is not big, not even small. Not elegant, but pretty in my eye. It is not worth a million, but can shield my family from the storm. This structure is made of love. It's surrounded by flowers, planted by my pretty mother. Though it's not yet painted, I'm already amazed. A safe place for my kids to stay. A safe place for me to rest when I get tired. A safe place I call home. A place that's made of love. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for reading the poem, and yeah. So this is about your home back in Philippines.
Yes, yes.
Hmm. So seems like description of a very nice home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can see so it is about the longing to go back to that place, that image of that place that
Yeah.
gives you a comfortable sleep at night. Yeah. So you want to share something more about your home or this motivation about the poem?
Sorry?
You want to share something more about the motivation behind the poem, or your emotion regarding
Oh no,
this
I've
poem?
got motivated to write this. All of us, we're working and we're not only wishing, but we dream to have our own house because if we don't have our own house, we cannot call it our own, right? If you're sleeping on a place that not belong to you, you won't call it your own. So we must have, we call it own a house, own house.
Mhm. I see. Yeah, that I can understand and
Okay,
agree.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing your poem, Christine.
Yeah, thank you for
And
inviting me here.
yeah, it's our pleasure. So yeah, we'll move to our next poet. Now this time it is Kyra.
Hello.
So hi, welcome back. And what's your second poem?
This title of my second poem is Immigrant Aphasia. I'll just read it out and then you guys can interpret it for yourselves. Dear Mrs. Ramos, good news, the test results came. Though your mind will heal, the tongue's dulled. This comprehensive list should explain. First, a crippling affliction of the abstract. Kabalisahan, katungkulan, kamuhian. Then comes the crumbling denouncement. Langit, lubid, lupa. Soon enough the verbs flee, arrowing away. Sunod, sumpa, salo. This is how you fade. Have no fear. Sentences leave last. Fret not as well. Blood talks where words fail. Alternative medicine? I'm afraid not. There is no known antidote, but no need to mind your language. Good riddance. At least you are fluent in English. That's it. Yeah. So this poem was written based
Yep.
on Because I'm a linguistics student and we learned about this disorder called aphasia, where you forget certain aspects of language. And I kind of connected that with being an immigrant and losing touch with your first language or your native tongue, because everybody pretty much forces English down your throat. This is really the encapsulating theme of this poem. And I think a lot of immigrants, I feel like we will connect with similar feelings and sentiments.
Mhm. So, what is this idea of linguistics you talked about?
It's called aphasia. So this is a language disorder that happens when there's a part of your brain that's affected, and when it happens, you forget to speak. You lose capability in certain aspects of language, like you stutter a lot, or you forget words, or you are semantically empty, or you just have a hard time producing the language that you used to be comfortable in doing so.
Mhm. I see. I see. Okay, yeah, that's I think a very interesting concept, and like lots of us, I have found out lots of friends when they come back from their foreign retreat for after a long time, they just forget their own language or somehow like this stammered to talk in that, and yeah, that's I think. How do you think of that in linguistic?
Mhm. It's not really a disorder or anything. That's just getting so used to speaking in one language that you tend to lose touch or connection with the other one. I uh, I made a connection between language and the idea of home, because there's such a strong relationship between your home and your language. So for me, losing touch with my native language felt like losing touch with my home and my identity, which explains why I feel like I have very complex emotions about who I am, what my identity is, and where I really belong. Things that I'm still trying to work out. Yeah.
Mhm. I see. I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think language is a very like important sentiment for us, like specifically in Bengali. Like this World Mother Tongue Day that came out of some people fighting for Bengali language, specifically in the Bangladesh part of Bengal. Yeah. So yeah, I can understand, and yeah, that really has very strong feeling for us also. And losing it is also losing a big part of you. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. I'll move to our next poet. So Salah again. So
Yeah.
I,
This piece is called "The Blessing of Choosing." Okay. So distance is insignificant, and time is many times insufficient, and that is confusing. Inches when you are near are turning into miles, and when you disappear far in the exile, somehow you're still here, hidden in veins or dropping with rains, and this is amusing. But just for seconds before I start to think that I might be losing, then I feel the distance like the basic element of the existence. And I run away from these thoughts and start thinking of the time. Why is it passing away when we are together? And why bits of the day seems like forever when the two are separated between one place and another? Sometimes, sometimes I ask myself, why bother? Life is a suffer. Life is a tear melted in pain, from the first moment running insane to a final fate. And this is what all humans instinctively hate. And I see the hesitation in this situation. It is so confusing to do nothing while we are losing, to standing vulnerable when we got the blessing of choosing. That's it.
yeah, thank you for reading out the poem. So, would you like to explain the motivation or the story from your side about the poetry?
Well, basically, of course, we might be like, of course, like migration is one of the, let's say, the situations that affect our lives, sometimes bringing more hardship to our lives, of course, and challenges. But at the same time that, we cannot just justify everything with the circumstances, or like kind of like argue that, we have to do things in a certain way. Like we still have actions to not people to not let go with people, with our relationships, friendships, and etc. We can still have actions despite the difficulties. We cannot interpret destiny in a kind of like a wrong way. We need to kind of also like take our position in this equation, and at the same time also um, we don't we shouldn't like be hypocrite, like we only like let's say leave it on the circumstances and blame it on the situation just to suit our comfort. We still need to have a saying, so that's yeah.
Yeah, so it is very similar to what we are discussing with Deborah. We choose to do things, and it takes, I think, a long time in life to accept that you have chosen lots of things in your life. Yeah, not all of it, obviously not all of it, but like you have chosen a lot of it also,
Yeah,
somehow, someday.
yes, and embracing this is, I think, very, very empowering, especially like to maybe like people like us, like living, in a kind of like a limbo. So I think embracing that, I think what brought us here basically is kind of based on our choice, and about creativity and uh, uh, have a saying in all of what is going on.
Yeah, you cannot really control what is happening maybe in your country, in your place, or how is it changing, but you can see what you have played or what you have done during, like when it changed, and where you have come is obviously a set of decisions that you have made in between.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very nice thing to discuss, and like we can keep on, but we have to move on with the event, and we'll move to our next poet now. So our next poet is Vijay.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah,
So
can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you. So the stage is yours. What's your next poem?
Thank you. My second poem title is House is a Magic Mirror. A house is a magnifying glass where teeth drying up, a sleepless child are hidden sleep in the wall. A house is the birthplace of some angel and the some abode of some angel. A house is a place of unthinkable solitude. A house is a simple civilization woven of many elements. A house is a pillar that sustains poverty forever. A house is a pleasure trip that carries grandparents. A house is a museum full of some photos. A house is land that has matured for thousands of years. A house is dark shadow that stays last for few nights. A house is a poem composed of innumerable words. A house with some silence and some anger and some misery and some heat, some affection and some touch. A university with some pluses. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, your poem, and yeah. So uh, again, what's the story behind it? Because or what do you want to like convey to us by that? Would you like to
Yeah,
elaborate?
actually, everyone we having a home, right? But inside the home, we got lot of emotions and like joyness, like some homes still with poor, some homes so rich. some house is carrying the heritage, some house with carrying the grandparents to so the child people to grow up. So actually the house is like university. What I feel the house is a university when there is a grandfather and grandmothers, like those father, mothers, everyone mingled together in the house. Like I feel strongly the house is a university.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I see. That's an interesting concept. Yeah, that's an interesting way of thinking of it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Vijay. Thank you for sharing your poem with us and your thoughts about home. Yeah. So now we are again back to our yeah uh, next poet, Wahid. And as Wahid is not here, again I'd like to share his poetry through the video. So bear with me as I share the screen. Let's see. And yeah, this poem is interesting in a very different way. Like most of us who change lots of places, we have seen like your hair falls eventually if you change places. And I was interested just to see like why it has made a poem about that. So I never expected to write one. Yeah, so let's listen to him what he is saying.
My second poem touches a very similar themes. I wrote this a couple of years ago, my first year here at Chicago, and this is to do with my hair as well. This poem is called "In America, My Hair is Falling Out of the Shower, Even Though Spring Rears Her Infant Head Through the Communal Window. Even though, as of 2019, I have switched to a natural conditioner made of olive oil extract that my mother had stored in Minister bottles over winter break. I had insisted on olive oil because it smells more palatable than the coconut, even though I only wash my hair 3 times a week. You get away with that here because it's not so humid even in spring, but my hair is falling out. I used to think I would move from Singapore to America after I get a PhD because my hair doesn't frizz up into a tenable mess here. Sometimes it still does. And then I comb my hair in front of the mirror with one of those dollar combs from the CVS 2 blocks away that break too easily, and then I see my hair uprooting itself. CVS is running an offer for hairbands. I spend 10 minutes at the aisle wondering if I want to push my hair back down to my scalp. I'm wondering how to manage video calls with my mother if I ever did. The other day, someone had asked me if Singapore was part of China. No lie, to you this sounds like a cliche, like, come on Wahid, these American kids can speak better Mandarin than you. They can actually speak Mandarin. To which I say, but my hair is falling out. Did you ever read between the lines when you read Harry Potter because you had nothing better to do? I did, but that sort of kid. Hermione Granger had bushy hair, Angelica Johnson had hair which looks like worms sprouting from the dark peak of her scalp. Of course they weren't white. We'll talk about Hermione some other day, but they weren't. For this is what I think it means to be white. To have good, healthy hair. Yesterday, an Ethiopian girl in my dorm straightened her hair because she had to present a speech. Also yesterday, I googled messy curls hairstyle male, 10 pictures of Kit Harington. Today I had my fourth free therapy session in this school. I am in therapy because halfway around the world, my mother's hairline is receding. I do not tell my therapist that I'm scared of clogging up the drains of my communal dorm bathroom, but that I'm more scared that everyone else will figure out it was me. Every time I run my fingers through my hair, I feel like I am aging by a year. This quarter, I'm in an anthropology class about Pacific colonialism, even though I'm only a freshman, and the white professor knows about Singapore than I do. Not by much, thank God. He introduces pre-colonial Singapore to the class not as a sleepy fishing village, but as a thriving Buddhist trading port, and I am the only student surprised by this. It takes me 3 whole weeks to realize that my ancestry professor has a huge bald spot, encircled by a thicket of white A girl at a party told me my hair was cute. I said, I don't believe you. Simply because I didn't. In retrospect, this is probably a mistake in this weird dating economy that I'm still getting to grips with. But I'm happy she didn't have to find out my hair is falling out. I think everyone here wants to be rich, so they become econ majors. There's a Starbucks in the economics department, and the seats in the foyer are heated. The economics department is named after a Chilean banker named Alvaro Salle, who is a trustee of the school, so he must be very rich. He's also very bald. I think this is what happens when you want to put your name on monuments. I do not want to put my name on a monument. But still, my hair is falling out. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, so that's the poem from White Side. And I think that's a very interesting poem, to be honest, like because of its notion and how it has talked about, migration in a very how can I say, like in a very bodily sense, but with lots of notations and annotations. Like if you have went to foreign universities after a certain time, and if you see how people look into your culture or your university in a certain sense, or your place in a certain sense, like that's very interesting, I think. And I can see, like when I went to Singapore, I had this similar feeling, like people talking about India in a certain way, me losing my hair, and like, I can really relate to him. And people getting richer, economics department having a better Starbucks, so everything falls into place. Yeah, so, and all the business schools having the better, best of the buildings. And yeah, so, and also the inherent notations and connotations in there. But I would have loved to ask him some questions, but since he's not here, okay, let's keep it offline. uh, so thank you everyone for being in here. And just one question before we all like leave for our own zones. And like obviously Amanda goes to sleep, it's already 2 in there, and I'm holding her back for longer and longer. So yeah, one question is that I was very interested throughout the session when we are trying to organize and gave you the topic of poetry of home in 2020. One thing is like, how do you think this year has changed the idea of home for all of us? So this is one burning question to me. So I wanted to ask everyone. So what do you think of it? What's your opinion on that? So do you want to say one word, a few sentences on that, or share your thought?
Are we going in the order that we went?
Yeah, that's easier.
I assume so. For me, I guess it definitely has made more apparent, one, that I'm really grateful to share the space that I do with my family members. Of course, it has made things more difficult among us because we have to deal with each other 24/7. But that is the cost of having to stay healthy and safe, so I'll take it. And definitely has made me consider that home, as cliche or as cheesy as this may sound, is where the people that you love is. So I feel very much at home right now.
Great. So next is Kristine. Oh no, sorry.
Yeah.
Next is Chandra. So I messed up the order. Sorry. Yeah. You are in mute, Chandra. Still you are in mute.
It's okay now.
Now it's fine. Yeah, it's okay now.
So, and I would like to request after this, I will also sign off because my my lunch time is over.
Okay.
If you people don't mind.
Yeah. No, we are all signing off after this. Like all of our time is kind of over by half an hour. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Bahrain, like there was no lockdown from the beginning. offices, factories, and work sites were going on. Some restrictions were there. So I didn't feel any change. But other friends in other countries, like in my own Nepal, no offices, no work. So those friends who write, they got very good time to read, to write new things. And as Amanda said, like it was a good time to stay close with the family and pursue the things of our interest. For those who got locked down, it was a bit scary time, but even then, like staying back in isolation, reading the books, writing the new things, it was like a good chance that I felt.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Yeah, I think like if you can read and write enough, and if you can keep the motivation going on, then it's a good pastime.
So, shall I
Just
sign?
that. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I would like to thank
Yeah.
all
Thank you
my
for being here.
friends, Zakir also, and even Deborah, Basu, and all friends, Amanda, Salah, Kristine, Vijay, Kyra, whom we met today. Thank you, my friends, and thanks to the organizations which organize all this event. Okay, thank you, my friends. I'm signing off. Now I will join my duty
See
there
you.
in the office.
Thank you for joining,
So hope next time again we
making the
will be
time.
together.
Yeah. See you. See you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. God bless you all. Bye bye.
Bye. So next we'll move to Kristine.
Yeah. For me, facing the lockdown in the house at home, giving me a lot of time, more chances to learn about myself, having more patience. You know, I'm having 3 kids here at home, so I learned to be more patient and having more time to my kids. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's normal. Like we are
No
used to it
worries.
Yeah.
meetings with kids, and yeah, that's normal. That's life.
So, and that's how it changed my life also.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Like hope, like you are okay, somehow enjoying it and
Yes.
managing it, and good luck for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And thank you for inviting me here also.
yeah, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, have a
Thank you
great time.
for
Thank
being
you.
here. Yeah. So next we'll move to Kyra.
Hello. I think this year's changed my perspective of home slightly, in the sense that last time I used to think it's just like shelter or a place where I can sleep and rest at the end of the day. But now, because of the whole situation, I feel like it's a lot more associated in my mind as safety and freedom, because with everyone being restricted to their homes, I realized that this is the one place where I can actually like number one, not have my mask on, and number two, like a place where I can really just do what I want and work in my own time and in my own space. And I've come to value the idea of a safe space so much more, especially in 2020. That's all from me. Yeah, a safe space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a safe space. Yeah, that's a very interesting way of putting it. And I think like yeah, also Kristine in one of her poem like talked about that like own home is a safe place that you dream of. Yep. And next, Salah.
Yeah, well, actually, even before maybe like the pandemic, I think I'm still like maybe I need like to get it to get the idea of home like cleared to myself, but it basically like took like several stages. First, like maybe like home like sometimes is more localized than what we think. It's more like somehow maybe reflected to the area where you grew up, to the city where you lived, rather than a nation state kind of sense. But also at the same time, it sometimes also transcends if you have like a kind of like a different background, or if you connect to lived like into multiple countries, it also transcends the nation state kind of. So there's these two like factors. In the pandemic, there's a third factor that you know, maybe nobody can foresee from before, which is home is about maybe the people that you connect with, whether you are like in a tiny flat in Japan, like I'm right now, or you know, like living in a big city, or kind of like yeah, it's more about you know, the people, the connections that you have in your life. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe like a Zoom meeting could be a home, you know, or could feel as home, if you're comfortable, if you feel safe, if you can share your thoughts and ideas and feel also kind of you know, embraced by the others. Yeah, but to me, like maybe more precisely, maybe home is where you're maybe like you feel safe, and also maybe live up to your morals and your ideals in life, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think great thought, like great way of thinking, like a great thinking. And yeah, as you said, like I think also this what I have understood also with time, that it is more localized, as you have said, like because I have lived, I think, in 4 5 countries in my life till now. So like yeah, so more localized than yeah what you think or most of the people think than a state or than a nation state. That's true. And like then your home becomes several places where you have been, where you share your memories, because again your stories make a home for you, and the people specifically who make the stories are your home in some way or other.
Yes.
That's yeah, yeah. I can really share the feeling because of this. You know, I can understand living in different countries at different times, and you know, that's a different way of living, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
And yep, thank you for sharing it. Thank you for being here with us. So we'll move to our next point now, Vijay.
Yeah. For me, like migrant workers, we are miss our family. Like me in Singapore, whoever work in the whole world, like to migrate to work, save our family in different countries. But we are missing our family because last 1 year we can't go back to our native place. Then we can't see our father, mother, and like brother, child, mothers. Some people really they are like they engage with marriage, but also they can't attend the marriage. Then still waiting for that. For myself, I got a good thing to do in the lockdown. I reading some books. Also, I wrote so many poems, and I published my book also last month. Yes, myself is I think this is a good time for me during this lockdown. But one thing bad, I miss my family. Yes, that's
Mhm. Yeah. So I think like poetry healed us quite a bit. Like as Chandra also said, like you know, reading and writing saves you a lot in these times. And
yeah,
sometimes books and poems can be your home. Like
yeah.
really. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Vijay, also, and thank you everyone for being with us here and like sharing all this time. And we, you know, ran out of time, overshooted it like long ago, and being still with us. And yeah, so it's been a like really nice journey with all of you, hearing lots of nice thoughts, like starting from this national anthem to idea of home, to writing your own story, to like languages, to toy shops, and like this was really a very nice and enriching session of Carnival of Poetry. And I think it is a very nice way to end this year for us, for Carnival of Poetry, with poems, with nice things and nice thoughts before the holidays start. And yeah, I hope like every one of you like will have a very good year, ahead of you. 2021 will be significantly better than 2020. And yeah, and you'll have less masks, less people getting sick, more time to and away from home, or the people you want to meet for a long time, or you may have your holidays if you are sitting at your home for long. So have a healthy and good time, have a nice time with poetry. And we'd like to thank all of the poets, Singlet Station, Zakir, and other organizers to, and also translating migration to share or to allow us to organize these events. And we hope to see you more and more in Carnival of Poetry. Thank you for being here, and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. And like also thanks go like to you for